Good evening, friends. I would like to stay a couple of minutes in live and I would like to share some of the thoughts that are floating in my mind. And after that, I would love to take your questions also. So please stay with me and be patient. And what's going on in my mind? Like, there is this client who is just like 14 years old and of European origin, and he had asked me an interesting question that intrigued and developed kind of, yeah, these kids are so much aware, they have a different worldview and they are far ahead of our generation. So I would like to share what he had asked me, and then after that I'm gonna give you answer on that, and after that I'm gonna take your questions. Okay, so for the time being I'm gonna pause this comment section so that I could answer your questions later on. So the thing that the kid asked me, that he is just ninth standard kid, and he said that what is the difference between humans and other animals. So he has this a separate section in his school, separate subject in his school that teaches spirituality and religion, and in that his teacher has recently explained the concept of consciousness. So he was asking bunch of different questions like what is consciousness, and do why humans are the only species. I'm reflecting and paraphrasing his words. So why it is considered humans, only humans have consciousness, why can't plants, animals, other pathogens like bacteria, viruses, or small insects, why don't they have consciousness? This was his question. So to his question, what I have replied, that it is wrong that to understand and to come to conclusion that we only humans do have consciousness. It's not. Other living beings also do have consciousness, but they have limited amount of consciousness, limited levels of consciousness. For example, what is consciousness? Consciousness is the ability to do self-reflection, ability to have an awareness, situational awareness of yourself, and the ability to experience full amount of emotions like empathy, sympathy, and not only some common emotions like anger, frustration, pity, and getting bored, and all these, not only those, but the wholesome sorts of emotions you could experience, like. And we humans do have some complicated brain compared to other primates or other animals, and that is also one contributing factor. And second thing, that we evolved at a rapid pace comparative to rest of the animal kingdom. Third thing, that we are self-aware beings. Like, what does mean by self-awareness? Self-awareness means that we could understand that, okay, we are humans, we have this blood, muscles, bones, and we are living in a social environment, and we could interpret different things that are happening around us. Like, for example, if there is a hailstorm, if there is a rain going on, or if there is a flash or thunder that is happening, so we could understand and we could interpret that there is a reason behind those natural phenomena. But in earlier human beings, they doesn't have this knowledge why that's happening. People used to interpret on supernatural elements or some god or something. So whenever people, they doesn't have the capability to understand, they used to apply their limited resources and apply their limited understanding, and they would assign that phenomena to an supernatural element or godly figure. But later on, as we progress, as we came to understand the nature and the science and physiology and physics, we do understand that there is the reason behind, like why it is raining, why this hailstorm, why this natural shift in monsoons, winter, summer, spring. So why these cyclical things are happening. So we have a fair bit of understanding on what's happening around us. Okay, but when it comes to animals, when it comes to other species, they doesn't have this. They cannot understand, they cannot comprehend. They doesn't understand that we are floating on a mud ball, that is earth, around sun, and which is going on in a Milky Way, and along with that Milky Way there are hundreds and hundreds and thousands of galaxies are there, lakhs of crores of galaxies are there. Normal other animals and primates, they don't understand this phenomena. Okay, so in that way we are aware of those things, and we could understand the emotions. And if you are feeling angry, if you are feeling frustrated, we do understand that, okay, now I am angry, now I am frustrated, now I am getting bored, because we have this sense of perception that we could understand our own emotions. So that is self-awareness in a bit. And second point that I have explained to that kid is that these are the main two fundamental factors that define and conscious human being from sub-levels of consciousness of animals. Animals do have consciousness, but their consciousness is limited to reacting to biological urges and reacting to the immediate threat or danger or favor lurking besides them. Okay, so they have very limited amount of consciousness compared to humans. What does humans have? We do have one interesting component, that is abstract thinking. That means we could come to conclusion on some loosely based data. For example, if I have put like 7 dots without finishing a circle, so we could come to a conclusion that, okay, this guy is intending to draw a circle. Okay, without finishing the task also. For example, if I do have a bunch of peanuts in my hand, so if I place those bunch of peanuts in a form or shape of a triangle, so I might insinuate that I am referring to a pyramid, I am referring to some triangular shaped structure. So we could explain these concepts by showing that peanuts. I could explain the concept of pyramids. So there are no exact replica of pyramids, but I am insinuating the other end part is also able to understand that abstract, because of they have this abstract thinking capability. So they can understand that, okay, he is referring to pyramids. Okay, so this abstract thinking capability generally we don't associate with animals, lesser conscious beings. And second thing, that you might have come across YouTube or in some other video sharing platforms or Facebook or X, that whenever you place a mirror in front of a dog or a small kid, a very small kid, or any other beings, animals, they might not have the capacity to understand that is their own reflection, that is their own image. They might get scared. There is another dog is out there, there is another lion is out there. So they doesn't have this comprehension capability, that they doesn't understand that is their own reflection. Sometimes they will freak out while drinking water from a river or a canal or some water body, because they are not able to understand that they are seeing their own reflection. So they might try to fight it out with their own reflection. Okay, but humans, when you see that even a 7-8-year-old baby, after facing the mirror for a couple of minutes, they will come to understand that there is their own reflection. This kind of understanding can be seen in gorillas, chimpanzees, baboons. So a primates level, they do have this understanding. When it comes to marine beings like dolphins, they do have this understanding. And octopuses, they are pretty much kind of nerds in marine world. We could say that there are so many other species who share this consciousness, but they have limited amount of consciousness. Okay, if I have to share an interesting fact about octopuses, they have these tentacles now. So in that tentacles, they have more amount of neurons comparatively to the size and space. When we compare it to our human species, they have more amount of neurons and axon connections in those tentacles. Okay, so sometimes they are pretty smart comparative to their marine world. Okay, so why I'm sharing this concept means the kind of education system Western world have, and the kind of exposure those kids are getting, and they are always encouraged to be independent and to learn on themselves, to learn by going through online, taking up new courses, or they have this ability to question the faculty. But when it comes to our education system, our facilities and our people, we absolutely hate a kid who is bit odd or a kid who is bit independent. If he asks a question or a doubt, the faculty will think that, okay, this guy is questioning my authority and he wants to prove that I do lack in substance or subject knowledge, or he is questioning my ability. Okay, so I do get these sorts of feedback from the kids or people of younger generation of our area, our India. Like they have this gumption with the constant complaint about the faculty people are not being able to understand their own point of view. So I have this worry about this thing. And if you really want to change our education system or the way we think or the way we perceive, or we want to churn out this creativity or critical thinking capabilities in our students and youth, we need to encourage these kids to be more open about asking their doubts, coming up with new ideas. And the parents also should be like, they should encourage them to be like more vocal and be more creative and be expressive in their own thoughts. Okay, this is my own thought process regarding this. But I found like an 8th class kid asking about, because why did that guy was able to ask that question? Because we doesn't teach religion or spirituality in our schools. So if you are a minority institution, you are allowed to teach your own propagate or teach your own religion. That's enshrined in our constitution. But they doesn't teach the wholesome all religious scriptures or all religious philosophies. They will dwell on their own philosophy or religious scriptures only. But because that kid have a particular spirituality class, and school was encouraging kids to read all the spiritual scriptures and different philosophies. So at the tender age of 8th standard, the guy is asking like, what is consciousness? Why everybody is running behind and everybody wants to understand this phenomena of consciousness. He was able to ask that question. But when I see these Ivy League schools of our place, I cannot disclose, but they doesn't have the substance. They are like more on, they wants to focus on academic excellence or communication skills, or they want to polish them for upcoming like competitive examinations, or if they want to crack some job. So people are focusing on like, you could understand that they are focusing on cracking IITs, or they wants to get into civil services. So from the childhood itself, they'll be like teaching and tutoring them about the the concepts of those competitive examinations. So this is, friends, so I just wanted to share my opinion or thoughts about how these kids are like more bright. I'm definitely sure that that kind of kids gonna come up with some kind of new innovations, like kind of they are going to do a great human service to the humanity when it comes to comparing our kids, like who are like more focused on getting a job or getting paid or settling down in life, or where parents are looking for a comfortable uh, secured life for the kids. So that is the problem with our society. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. So I'm gonna see and check if you have any questions. I'm gonna answer them in Telugu and English as per your liking. So let me see who joined. Late night. Okay. Okay. Seems like Yadav Honey. Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Naresh S. Hi, sir. Hi, brother. Uday Virat. Hi, sir. Hi, brother. So I just wanted to vent my frustration or my rant or my feelings on the kind of education system we have and the kind of openness a Western world do have. Especially, I was talking about the kid of uh, France, and their education system is like more pretty liberal, and the kid do have a chance to choose their own curriculum. Can you explain please about how to know kids mentality, Naresh? Kids mentality, ask them questions, ask them, talk to them, and if you really want to understand their interests, or if you really want to assess their IQ levels, please go and consult a clinical psychologist or special educator. They will be able to give you that an assessment test. And these assessment tests also like very, I don't have a great opinion on them, I can't criticize them, but somehow they work just to understand whether we are dealing with a retarded or people who are mentally challenged kid or a normal kid. To assess that, they're gonna work fine. But to understand a kid, what we have to know that you have to consult with the class teacher who is constantly in touch with that kid. You need to get to feedback from the significant other person, like a mother or a caretaker or a nurse who's taking care of the kid. And you need to get feedback from multiple channels, not only from single entity. If you really want to understand a kid, first talk to them. Second, get input from multiple channels, like from the faculty, from the mother or significant other person who is dealing or taking care of the kid. And then only you can understand, you could properly assess a kid. It's always a better idea to seek and go for this IQ examinations or IQ tests. They are fine, but to our Indian students and Indian kids, I still have my own apprehensions about this statistically based tests and all that. So that's it, friends. Seems like we don't have any much questions. I just wanted to say hi to everyone. Thanks for joining. And I'm not complaining about our Indian education system. I do understand that our limitations and the kind of processes that are there, and the kind of disparity that we have in our society. I do understand all that stuff, but still at the end of the day, it's pretty hard for me to digest all these things. And I wish a great amount of success for our students and our youth, but let's see what happens. We are gonna do our part. Let's see the government, whether government and society does its part or not. Let's see. Take care, guys. I would like to say good night to everyone. Naresh, thank you, sir. Good night. Good night, Naresh. See you later, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Good night.